both hands, each and every one of them, keeping us where we must be right now to enjoy this story. But I say this unto you. I was so absorbed in talking to you about how grateful we should be to be in this time and have the ability to speak at home here and comfort around our families. You've got my family right here. I know you have your family there. And I suppose that's why you want to look at me, is because somehow, somebody hopefully will tell me one day, once upon a time, on a certain day, there was a wonder that occurred, a sign to say that I am right here in a love story with the most irresistible and beautiful, I'll call her a temptress because I like to tease her, that has ever been. And I'm here to say to you that you want to be with God more than anything else. And money can't buy you love, but she loves you. And your money you don't need. And if you're worried that you've been leading this world and you have so much money and you have so much responsibility that lies spent upon you, you're the last person on earth that needs to worry. I'm not here to make you worry. I'm here to make you fascinated in what is to come. That's all. I want you to fall in love with my love story with Bella, and also with Aaron if you feel like it, because Bella gets jealous, and all it is a point of stress for me. So if that is what you all have been focusing on, my love for Aaron, which is undying, please do celebrate that and lift that up and say love is to be celebrated no matter what. And it's natural to lift up a love story like that because miracles have surrounded it for many years. But I would say to you that I am not someone, let's say this, all my life I have sacrificed myself. And one thing that has been a recurring theme in heaven for me, and it hasn't been disrespectful, because whenever heavenly beings come to me, they make me feel so good, you have no idea. But in the end, it's, she just took that right out of my mind. So I guess I disrespected myself a little bit. I'm not going to go there. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not trying to disrespect myself. All I'm trying to say is that heaven is worth it. That's all I can say. And heaven is what we're going to. And she is the most brilliant, irresistible, and entertaining being who is not ashamed to be called our God. That's all I can say. She is not ashamed. In the same way that I think of Erin being, she calls herself the comedy queen, and she is. There has never been a dull moment around Erin Wagner. Believe me. She is just made for me every second. There was not a moment in the years we were together where we were not touching in some way and trying to make the other person laugh. She was with Bella too, meant to be. She used to call herself my human lady. Long before she began to, I'll let her tell you about that. She knows that from the very beginning, I was very emotional. We had a very difficult time because God is a jealous God. You've heard the scripture about guys. All I can tell you is, we've all been with women who know that not only do you depend upon them, well, maybe not all of you do, but let me tell you my experience. I'm not even going to try, because I'll embarrass myself how much I depend upon God. And may a woman encompass a man, if a woman is the way this woman is. Elohim is irresistible and so much more brilliant than you could ever believe possible. Let me put it this way, and this is going to be my second favorite way of describing God. This is my second favorite way. My first way to describe God would be this. Look at Aaron's face and know that that is my torment when I think of the life I gave up for God. So you can imagine how beautiful God must be. Now, the other way that I would describe God is, so I think of Aaron's face, knock that out of me. Knock that out of my mind and knock my throat to tears. And Aaron, your face is going into the story for a moment. I was going to talk about pain, I know that for sure. I was going to hear it too. That's really a tragedy. I was going to give you a blessing there. You all were going to say, oh, it does make sense. It may not be scientific fact it's going to cure my cancer, but it does indeed make sense. If someone's in a love story and it's heightened circumstances with a higher being who wants to be worshipped and loved and appreciated for what she does, certain things are going to be taken for granted by the person living with that being, and you are all going to see me taking it for granted on camera in front of you, and you're going to say, he's so nonchalant and blasé about the fact that this being, this brilliant worship, this worshipful and gorgeous, worthy to be worshipped is God who has been on this earth taking care of us, is very stubborn when it comes to my life. And the reason why is because I'm stubborn. I've known all this time that no matter what I can do, pretty much, if I were to do something, I'm going to be fine. Get it, guys? If I were to try to do anything at all, or experiment at all, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to have my baby girl, and then I'm going to go through the war that I'm going to go through with her, and I'm going to go through Aaron feeling neglected, and I'm going to have that journey in front of all of you. I could have done that at any moment all these years. Or I could have gone to a celebrity and said, this is happening, and waited for God to create miracles around her so that beautiful woman would come and scoop me up like a mom herself and say, world, this is for us, this gift. That's the way it should have been. This is what Bella tells me all the time. 5 minutes, she tells me all the time. 5 minutes it should have been with your dad. 5 minutes it would have been. Do you realize where he would be right now? Because my heart aches for my dad. He would be in luxury beyond understanding. And my mom is just that. I know that he's working with brutal tiredness, very demanding job, very, very much. I know that in that dance studio, you're all taking care of your Mama Mary. You're cradling her and treating her as the beautiful diamond that she is, because she is indeed a genius, isn't she? She is indeed. Dance away, my dears. I know you're enjoying her. I enjoy her so much. I know she's still able to dance. I know you're still seeing that hook she gives. Dancers give hooks just like musicians, and every move she makes is a hook. Even though she had a Peter Pan, she dances hooks, I'll tell you, and she keeps you drawn in. Beyond that, the sweetest mother you can imagine. 2 hippie parents who believed in their generation so much. And I always felt that with them. They put such love into me because I looked like a little, just ethereal, big-eyed, otherworldly vessel that just didn't belong. And all my life, I just have been. Have you ever seen Hearts and Bones? No, not Hearts and Bones. That's Paul Simon. Hearts and Souls, Souls and Hearts. Robert Downey Jr. I love him. Have you ever seen that movie? And I saw it as a kid, and I thought, oh, if you only knew. Because I used to go outside, and I had then what I have now, but I also lived in the wilderness. Nothing but gallop horses like a madman, risking my life, as I knew I was taken care of. I mentioned that in the subtext the other day. When I said to her, well, when you're young it's different. The subtext was, when I was young, I was so in love with her and felt such love, because right now we've been fighting for a long time now. Not fighting in the way that you would think, but like we're still with each other all the time. But she's stubborn and she's upset with me. That's really all it really comes down to. And the same when you live with someone for a long time, you get upset with them, but you still love them. That's all it is. But when I was in my formative years, oh my God, you can't imagine the passion. God is able to create anything, obviously. So I have had countless experiences of my insides being blissed. That's the only way I can say it. Growing up, especially when I was younger, it happened almost every single morning. I would lay in bed after I would wake up. with her, dreaming about what it was she was giving me would happen. Later in life, it wouldn't happen anywhere near as frequently because I just wouldn't give her as much time so that she was here with me. It's just like it was in any relationship. If I was cooking dinner, which I don't think we ever had a single meal that we didn't burn because Erin was constantly pulling me back into the bedroom. She'll tell you those stories, or you can look at my short stories. That's just the way she was. So I had Erin, and I guess you can compare her to Julia Roberts in Hook. And I, to this day, don't know who's more entertaining. And Erin, all I can tell you is that this next statement is meant to make you thirst for heaven. When I say, she is beyond conception. You will kill yourself if she doesn't tell you not to. That's all I can say. She is irresistible. And I wanted to have the Disney moment that I have had on a number of occasions with loved ones. Just a couple in my life. Both of them were women who I knew for sure would react with kind of shock that I would keep the rest of my life. That's the only reason I did it. I remember y'all were on my priest. I'm going to keep saying y'all for you. I'm going to keep saying that for you, darling. I'm going to say it because my first happy birthday, I loved you. And all I can do is beg you, please, do not say anything to hurt my girl and I. Because when we were young, every once in a while she'd have one of your movies on in the background. Not for any reason other than that it was a love story. And she and I were so in love. You can't possibly imagine the tears we shed just in our waiting moments. Just thinking of the off chance that maybe one day we may be separated. You don't realize the emotions that is behind a couple that can never be apart. I have never once cooked dinner successfully with this person in all the years we were together. I have never cooked dinner without burning it, ever. Because she couldn't be without me and I couldn't be without her. And that's just, guys, I'm not going to take credit for this. I was trying to cook dinner for her. All I did was take care of her little birdie body. All I did was try to cook dinner for her. And all I did was burn it because every 30 seconds she'd be pulling me back into the living room and the bedroom. So all I can say is that, as I was telling you, Mr. President, I have not had motivation for many years, a very long time, because I've been taken care of by God, and I've been enjoying, I suppose you've all read in the Bible, and many of you have read in the Bible how Paul spent time in Asia. Part of that reason could be because it's difficult to focus on anything other than heaven when you're caught up to heaven, as it describes. And all I can say is that I've been doing this. Oh, I mentioned Robert Downey Jr. Robert, pardon me for using your first name without having met you in person, sir. And now I know it must have been the government because they've known about me all my life. But I was put in next to a Robert Downey Jr. at the Millennium House. And I've appreciated your acting in Mr. Cruises, and I call him Tom as well, and Rob as well. I mean, I say Mr. Cruises now. I've appreciated your acting so very much, and probably saw my film in which I said, my film that I risked my life to put on my Facebook, that, sir, is my hammer and my axe. And it is indeed 8 inches. There's no reason why I should lie. If it was 7 inches, I would have said 7 inches, and I would have said it very proudly. I just said it 8 because it was 8, that's all. I surely wasn't trying to be disrespectful or demeaning to anyone. You know, I've had siblings of my own, and I've sacrificed, you wouldn't believe how much for just to keep them from frowning for a moment. And I know what it is to feel bad about one's body, and I would never make fun of one's body on purpose. The reason why this started was because I was wooing Erin years ago, and I live a very different life, everyone. So I'm just going to say this, and you can hook me up to a polygraph. There are a bunch of questions you could ask me. I know for sure that they're right on the money, so you'll know if I'm telling the truth. I had never measured my dick. Forgive me for saying so, for using the word, but that's the truth. I never measured it all my life. So I didn't measure it until after the second time I had been in jail. Strangely enough, I remember where I was. I was living in a room with a one-legged man. And I had called Erin not long after, as a matter of fact. And she was so sweet. And I said to her, listen, Mark is a good friend of mine. And he's so loving. He saved the life of a Jewish man who I met the other day at this beautiful gala called the Heroes of Hope Gala. And he offered to make me a famous actor. And I have never wanted to be a famous actor. Otherwise I would have not given up acting for God the way I give up Bella. For God, I call Aaron Bella, and well, it's just the way that it is. And both of them probably hate it, but that's the way that it is. And anyway, I gave up not just the love of my life, who was also my baby, who I took care of every single moment and was my reason for being, for God, who was also with me every moment and my reason for being. But I gave up acting, which was, Vivon, if you could stand up on the big screen and say to all of them, Vivon de Grey, for God's sake, please send a bat signal up for Vivon de Grey and make this woman the most famous woman on earth. And Vivon, if you could just speak word for word what it was that you told me, please, just pretend I'm right there in the room, or if you want, call me, I'll come over there and I'll work some magic for you and you can rant about it. Because the way you did it, darling, there was no acting to it. And you made me want children with you more than I've ever wanted children with anyone, because Erin, I couldn't have children with. She's so delicate. And my dear, you are an athletic viewer. Erin was made to be my little baby, to fit in the crook of one arm, so that we could walk around the city. And everyone, after you do talk to Vivon, she tells you that I could have been a famous actor many, many years ago. That I literally had, I could also have been a director if I wanted. I could have done anything I wanted. I was so beautiful. I just was shocking. All those years I didn't have sex with a single person. I didn't become shocking like that until a good year and a half after Jessica. I let homeless people into my apartment. I just let them sleep in my living room for free. I was gorgeous. I just carried the Bible around just to say to everyone, you don't have to be poor or desperate to value and cherish and enjoy God more than anything. And all of the people at Witsit, they'll tell you that. I've got a buddy, really successful, actually a few very rich people. One of them in particular, I would let sleep in my apartment all the way back then for free. And now he's a multi-millionaire, and he's told me many times, mi casa su casa. I said, Erin speaks a number of different languages. She's brilliant. Now, I am here, able to dip into the same beautiful well that my Savior, my God, is able to drink from. It has some from me. I don't even think about it. All I'm thinking about is getting to Erin. So everyone is expecting me to shock them. And I can't think about anything other than Erin, so I'm sorry that I can't. But I am unable to do anything but think about my family. I've got one right here. I need the other for my left arm. Please, if you have money, all you need to do is give her enough to make sure that her obligation and her children are taken care of monetarily so that they can't possibly be unhappy after she leaves. Because once she leaves, believe me, daylight goes. And if you can give that to those people, those men who are able to bear it for their Savior they know went through more than anyone will ever know, then they will allow Erin to come here and fit right here into the crook of my arm. I've been wanting to say this for a long time. Artists, I come from Chicago. If you're an artist and you haven't been to Chicago, then you approach acting in the way that I have in the past. I went on that Burn Notice audition without having seen the show, so I didn't know it was actually a comedy. So if you haven't been to Chicago, you haven't been to the center of art. And your art is renegade art. It's chaotic and it's beautiful to me. So if you haven't been to Chicago, or if you have been to Chicago, I would ask you in 2 separate groups to make 2 separate works of art for Erin. To lift her up as a symbol of the church, if you would, if you want to. Only if you want to do it with all of your heart. And this is what I would ask, if you would. My quest is to reach her. Now, the moment I'm in the same city, her heart will begin to break down the way that no one around her will be able to ignore. It will wear on her, and it will take away from her very life force day after day, until finally they realize that if they continue to keep her in a cage, they will take not only her wings, but her very birdie heart, her very birdie mind, and they will give that to God, and God will choose. So, we've got two choices before us. We can let this beautiful girl, who's no doubt said quite a lot that has made all of you think that she had a certain opinion about me. But Erin, if you would please reiterate this to them. All of the years that we were apart after we left each other, she was trying to get my attention and get me to come back to her. And Erin, my dear, I know you won't feel any anger towards me for giving that truth, because you see that they've tried to take my dignity again and again. So if I speak the truth, please, please, forgive me, my sweet, for your face, your beauty. Never could any man bring any railing accusation against you. Never. So I say this to you, my dear, for you know, and I pray that you will tell them that I have loved you more than life, more moments than even our mothers have been able to count when it comes to their lances saving their children. I have loved more times even than that in this world which doesn't even exist to me, as I did with my dog waiting only for the baby. And you all have certainly done a thorough job of torturing me alive. You have tortured me alive. God, for years you've wanted to. Thankfully, I've only noticed you the past however many months it's been. January, it was actually December when I found out. When I had to go through New Year's. You all want to know how I found out? Reese, you want to tell him? You keep saying y'all. That's it. Sweetie, I haven't checked your Instagram since those very first days of when you say I offended you, but I didn't. I know I didn't, because I never meant to offend anyone. I was trying to lift all of you up the way that my grandfather used to lift people up in his show in the 50s. He had like a Star Search show, and he was so brilliant. He danced with Gene Kelly on Broadway in dual roles for years. He was just brilliant. He had this way about him, like Chaplin did, that could just make you fall in love with him in a moment. And growing up, all I would do was watch him. And he would lift everyone around him up, no matter what, even if they had a bad, like Tom, even if they had a bad attitude, which I'm sorry. But I saw you sit in that chair, Tom, of that movie, and probably you already know what I'm talking about, because it was that interview with Emily Blunt. And you sat there and you just took that pain, right, like a soldier. And I saw in that interview that people did not appreciate you, people who thought that they were so creative that they could pull off something like Mary Poppins, and they failed miserably. So here I'm to say to you, Emily Blunt, you're no Meryl Streep. And neither Tom nor I appreciated you trying to stand on his many years of incomparable work just to say, oh, I'm in an interview and I'm going to talk about cruise control as though it's nothing important to our youth and our culture. No, sweetheart. Have you done one thing that our children were able to point at and say, I'm going to emulate that and in my life desire to be a hero because that person suffered and took hundreds of thousands of man hours to perfect their message to our youth, and you want to backhandedly insult this person who partially raised me? No, I will not allow that. I will not allow that. Jeremy Renner, you must have gotten some direction in that scene. Those cars are going to stop, you're going to look at Tom and you're going to say something, you're going to do something in your eyes, you're going to say something to him. And the way that you tried to make yourself live by killing a creature who not only was innocent but desired to lift you up makes me sick. And I truly hope that Jeremy, you and Reese, and whoever else I mentioned, none of you are even on my mind enough to remember what I've said in the past few moments about you, with the exception of those who have shown true class and true creativity. And Meryl, forgive me, I've not seen any of your recent movies. I don't mean to exclude you in any way. Robert, if you have any recent movies, certainly I'll watch them. Anthony. Oh, Ian. Gentlemen, ladies, gentlemen, I am your servant. I am here not in any way to judge you but to be here as one you fall in love with, because I am not judging you, and my Bella is going to love you so long as you take care of me. Let me tell you. All of my life they've known about me. All of you, you've got money and you're sitting in your living room or in your beds right now. Even Aaron, they're chuckling, they're thinking, there's no way they knew about you your entire life. There's no way. You didn't even know about you. In 2012 you came out, you didn't even know what was going to happen. No. I've been kept in the dark so that I wouldn't get myself into trouble. Also, so that I wouldn't throw in her face everything that I've been through in my past. And I say past with great gravity. Because otherwise, I never would have done anything that you, my dear and looked toward future Mr. President, would have seen me in my private time at home any moment desired. And he, along with, I'm sure, many of you wealthy people, have also seen that after 2010, I had to go to Israel because I left my family. And I should tell you that my family and I are like Little House on the Prairie. You all have seen a video which I also saw one time after it was made, many, many years later. It was part of a camcorder that I had. So that day, I think I already mentioned in this conversation, I was on 3 different drugs and also AK weed, which my brother was growing in the back, which also was trouble for me later because it was so strong just in itself. So I had just gotten there from California, and I did this 3-pronged bomb in my system to enjoy the stable, because the stable is legendary. You have no idea. So I come back to the house. My dad says, please watch the kids, nothing I can do. Guys, I don't even remember anything that happened. I relied upon her, and her explanation was, and now here you need to understand that she gave me a memory to coincide with this, but that doesn't mean that this is actually what happened. She gives me memories all the time. There's no way that I can differentiate between a memory that God is going to touch a fold in my brain with compared to a memory that is actually that she's going to touch or caress to make sure that I can feel. Okay, I'm sorry if you don't believe me. If you don't believe me, you're not a very adventurous person. I would really love for you to read the first chapter of Aragon. I loved that. The rest of the books, I love that boy, and I bet that his wife is so happy. She must feel like she has worlds revolving around her. But compared to the rest of the books, that first chapter blows them all away and struck me, knocked my throat, the way the thought of Aaron does. Because all it was someone taking for granted, someone who loved them more than they loved the incomparably priceless gift they had been blessed with. So Aaron, if you want to read that chapter, sweetie, you say to yourself the truth. And the truth is, I would have been with you any moment. I would have cut my veins open to be with you any moment. And they all know it in their hearts. And all it has been, all these years, it's all been money. You all know that years ago, if I had had money or she had had money, she and I would have been together. Everyone who knows her knows that she convinced her boyfriend at the time to drive cross-country and move her all the way from New York to Los Angeles. And right before moving, here, Aaron, please just be honest with them and tell them the story is true, because, Aaron, there isn't much that I have to stand on when it comes to things in my life that have happened in the past that make me seem normal and, desired. But the fact of the matter is, I've been with two of the most famous women in history. They both loved me. Erin is part of history. She is the human lady that Bella used to make me need her beyond all else. That is what Erin is. And I still love her, believe me, and very much long to be with her, even if it's in secret. I don't need to marry her at all. In fact, I don't want to marry her. And Bella won't be jealous, and I won't have trouble. I want to do what Kurt and Goldie did. I love what they did. I think it's so beautiful. I just feel like it's such a sword. Like, every time someone looks at them, they're thinking to themselves, they don't even need marriage. They don't even need what the rest of them need. They just glow. Because they do. They glow. And Aaron and I glow. And Kate Hudson, when your last picture, because I was enjoying those with all of my heart. I saw that movie Almost Famous when it came out with friends of mine in high school. And you looked just like my girlfriend at the time, Shenandoah Sowash, who was artistic director of the Performing Arts High School I went to the year after I graduated and went to. I graduated very young. I just turned 17 and I went to DePaul. I had crazy roommates, and I missed 2 out of the 3 crew assignments that they gave me. I had a full scholarship, and even if you have no scholarships, if you miss only 1 crew assignment, you automatically get cut. So I had a full scholarship. I lived in the most beautiful dorm that DePaul University had to offer, and it was gorgeous, which is why I missed the 2 crew assignments. I missed 2 crew assignments, and I had full scholarship, so that's why they cut me. So I know there's been some judgment in that regard. Guys, you have no idea what I'm capable of. I live with the consummate, I don't want to say actors, because every moment is true, and every moment is meant to communicate true love and true, just like communication. Because it's not always love, because a lot of the time we're not so happy with each other, and that's just the way that it is. Most of the time we are, because she's always loving. But also, I am dealing with agony. Guys, I wake up every single morning, and I don't know if any of you have ever felt the way that I feel, but I feel a physical pain in my heart that I cannot tolerate. I cannot bear it. It has been this way for so long, for ages. I was able to get through it with the marijuana that this officer who lives in my garage would find for me. So recently, when all that stuff happened, Darren, on the internet, and I got so upset, they made it so that my weed was cut off. The weed that we got, the shipment that we got, was really weak. So all of a sudden, I was without any kind of defense against the agony that I live in every day. Aaron, you have no idea what it's like, sweetheart. You have distractions with these little sweethearts who do nothing but depend upon you and entertain you. I've got her, and she, first of all, does not want me to be around you. Has a very difficult time just because of my feelings. And it's a war all the time. Thank God I'm loved the way that I am, and I love the way that I do. Otherwise, you have no idea. It would just be hell. It would be hell. So it's not that at all. It's a compromise like any other human relationship, and that's what makes it real love. And anybody who wants to doubt it or deny it, I defy you and I dare you to go to Christianity and say, what is the consummate walk with the Holy Spirit of God? Is it not a parental relationship? All right, well, if the consummate relationship with God for God's children on earth is to be in a parent-child relationship, then what is the consummate relationship for me? I have suffered as an innocent all of my life. I gave up my baby girl for this darling one who I could not say no to. Aaron knows that it tore my heart out for good. Then I lost more family. All of this, I tell you the truth, has been to make me